Okay, so we're learning more about how disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein kept his accusers quiet. In a new piece in The New Yorker, women describe feeling intense pressure to take settlements and sign NDAs. The Weinstein scandal empowering scores of women, though, to come forward since then. Since the Weinstein story broke 6 weeks ago, the list of men in power accused of sexual misconduct continues to grow. CBS anchor Charlie Rose, just the latest. He was fired for accusations against him. Joining us now is attorney and representative for Gretchen Carlson, Nancy Erika Smith, and Ronan Farrow, who wrote the latest New Yorker piece and exposed bombshell claims against Harvey Weinstein. Great to have both of you here for this conversation. So, as we know, the floodgates have opened, but for a long time, accusers were silenced. So they were silenced because this was a taboo, number one, because they thought they would lose their jobs, and we saw that happen, number two, and because of these NDAs. What does your new reporting find?
A team of powerhouse celebrity lawyers, employed by Harvey Weinstein, hired private investigators to directly influence the district attorney's office in New York, former staffers from the DA's office, calling their former colleagues, the current people considering whether to charge this guy, saying, look, this woman bringing accusations is a prostitute. Here's all this dirt our investigators have dug up on her. And look, the DA's office says this is business as usual. Defense attorneys, often kind of call and they come in and they present dossiers of information. The fact that it's business as usual is obviously alarming to a lot of these women who struggle to come forward.
And are prosecutors fooled by that when people call in with dirt? Does it affect their case?
They are adamant that it doesn't affect their judgment. However, I had multiple law enforcement say they went after this young woman in this particular case like they were an extension of Weinstein's defense team after that. And it was at that point that this young woman said she felt she had no choice but to sign an agreement buying her silence.
So buying the silence, that's it, right? So NDAs are often part and parcel with settlements.
Yes.
And sometimes they're very big settlements. So are settlements good or bad in these cases?
Well, they're bad if they've allowed harassers to do what these men have done for 20, 30, 40 years. They shut up women. My clients for the past 37 years don't want NDAs. They don't want their voices taken. They don't want to be told to shut up after they're victimized. And I read in Ronan's article that Gloria Allred said, oh, the clients love them. My clients haven't loved them for 37 years. And not having an NDA doesn't require a woman to talk about it. So it's absurd to say that women want to be shut up.
But do they, this is where the money gets confusing. So, but they take the settlements.
Right.
Why take a settlement if you don't want to sign an NDA?
Because what's the alternative? You're losing your job. You're being forced out of your job by a harasser. He's probably staying, but you complained, and now you have to lose your job. The alternative is to try the case, but that's also very difficult. You have these powerful people with powerful lawyers coming at you trying the case. I've tried them. I'm happy to try them. I don't think the harassers want to try them, and I think that the laws pending in California and New Jersey to ban NDAs will really help us root out harassment, which is the goal. Passing money around so that women can't work and harassers stay in the workplace is not the answer.
I think what we're seeing is that in a certain category of individuals accused of this kind of misconduct, heavy hitters, rainmakers for companies, there is a power imbalance where they can exploit the use of these NDAs and use them as a cloak of silence to continue to operate. Woman after woman told me, I wouldn't have signed if I knew there were previous agreements, and it was a pattern that I was perpetuating.
That is the problem, is that each NDA means that you can't talk about it, and so then women coming after you don't know what's happening. Let's just talk about what's happened since you broke the story about Harvey Weinstein. That wall of faces that we just saw, and let's pull up the graphic again.
That is not a graphic you want to be in.
Honestly, look at this. Just from Harvey Weinstein, you have, Louis C.K., James Toback, Mark Halperin, Al Franken, John Conyers now, who's not listed on there. Obviously, Roy Moore we're talking about, Charlie Rose. Can you believe everything that's happened
Allison,
in the past 6 weeks?
I think it's important to say that list is conflating a lot of different types of behavior. We are in a moment of painful and I think long overdue reassessment. This was right under the surface. This was something people were silent about for too long. And there is this explosion now. And that's empowering a lot of people in a positive way. But I do think we are going to need to figure out where the lines should be drawn, because this is a whole range of behavior. Some of it, actual assault like Weinstein, and some of it very different.
Oh, for sure. We were due for a correction. We are in the midst of it. I feel that we're in the middle of this sea change. But Bill Cosby is sometimes in a category of his own, or certainly in a much smaller category than other people. And so we're talking about what is sexual assault is pretty clear. Okay, there are laws. Sexual assault is pretty clear. Sexual harassment is a gray area.
Right, and we can't conflate sexual assault and sexual harassment, but we have to stop both. The judge made rule that sexual harassment has to be severe or pervasive, which we're reading about now because of the little video that is being shown at Vice and in Congress. But that's judge made. That's not in the law. Who said that it's okay to have a little sexual harassment in the workplace as long as it's not severe and pervasive? We have to root out all harassment so that women can live to their full potential in the workplace, period. And we might be at that moment.
We've also learned about what was happening in Congress. I mean, that there were all of these settlements paid secretly.
With our money.
With our money, with taxpayer money.
And that people who came forward had to sign an NDA as part of the process.
Before they even revealed what happened to them, they were forced into silence.
Right. So legislation is now being proposed to change that, as well as what you're talking about, getting rid of the NDAs.
Yes.
So it does feel like things are changing.
I hope
Erika
so.
Smith, thank
I
you
hope so.
very much, Ronan. Thanks so much for sharing your
Good to be
reporting
here.
with us.
Thanks.
Chris.